Hello everyone, welcome to Tutorials, Tips, and Tricks. My name is Dreld, and in this episode I'm going to be talking about one of the tanking specs that I use on my warrior. Now I've been tanking tier 2s, and this is working pretty well, especially for trash. You have pretty good AoE aggro, and you can keep aggro on a single boss mob. Alright, so I'm going 17 points into Warlord, 32 points into Paladin, 17 points into Reaver. Now, you can put more points into Reaver. This will help with your AoE especially, and it will give you more self-healing. So you could take some points out of Warlord and put it into Reaver. This is just kind of what I like to play with right now. I like the skills that it gives me. Alright, so Warlord. I'm going into Powerful Countenance. This will increase my armor. Call of Battle. It's a buff, and then if you have Battlefield Awareness, it actually makes an AoE taunt. So it's kind of nice. Defensive Experience. This is going to increase my block by 5%. Dramatic Presence. This is going to basically help my aspect buffs. Then I'm also taking Imposing. This will help when you're doing an AoE pull and it's hard to get aggro on a lot of stuff. It just increases your threat for a short period of time. But it's also good for bosses because you can get a nice good burst going. Alright, so into Reaver, I'm going 5 out of 5 Entropic Embrace, 3 out of 3 Ethereal Bond, 4 out of 5 Imbued Armor. I'm spending the other points somewhere else. Plaguebringer, this is really good for AoE. I'll show you a macro later on where you're going to want to combine this with a couple of skills. Soul Feast, Sinister Intent, 2 out of 3 Crest Mastery. Now, the main tree I'm going in is Paladin. I'm going Stalwart Shield, Defender, Aggressive Guardian. You can take Shield of Hero, but I prefer to use Shield of the Chosen instead. I don't really have hit problems. If you have hit problems, you'll probably want to go Shield of Hero. 3 out of 3 Hardened Will. I'm going Unyielding Defense, Vengeful Wrath, Karmic Resolution. 3 out of 3 Balance of Power. I'm taking the Protection skill. This is alright. I don't have the improved version of it, so it has a rather long cooldown to be really effective. It's kind of nice if you know the group is going to take some extra AoE damage. You can kind of help out, but it's a so-so skill for me. And then last tip, the balance. Alright, so your basic rotation is normally I'm going to be starting with my plague spells, Soul Sickness, Necrotic Wounds, and Blood Fever. After that, you're going to have 3 of your points you can spend. Call of Battle is good to use. If you're doing AoE though, you're going to want to use Spotter's Order. This is really good for AoE aggro. Single target, you have a choice of using Righteous Blow. You want to make sure that Call of Battle is up, and you can even use Spotter's Order, so this is kind of like a last if the others are on cooldown or, you know, whatever. You want to keep up your aggressive block. It's going to increase your block. Now, it doesn't stack with your Shield of Chosen, so if you can't keep this up, you still have the +5, but this is +10, so it is going to be better. So you want to try to keep that up. Empowering Strike, this is going to increase your armor. You want to make sure that's up on you. If you're on a single target boss, you got Pacifying Strike. This will help decrease the damage a little bit. You can also do Leader's Mark. This will decrease the target's armor, so your DPS can do more damage if they do physical. Now, with AoE, like I was saying, you have Spotter's Order. You want to use that. You also have an AoE taunt with Judgment, but it has a cooldown, so you can't really spam it. Another really nice skill is actually Intercept. You can either throw this onto a high DPS target, if they do a lot of AoE or single target or whatever, or you can throw it on the healer. For example, if boss spawns a bunch of mobs, normally the first person, if people aren't AoEing, the first person to get aggro, besides you, is going to be the healer. So if you cast it on the healer, well, at least the healer's going to be safe, and a DPS dies while they were just being stupid. So I really like that skill. It comes in handy. Alright, so one thing that is very important with this particular spec and tanking in general is macros. You want to make full use of them. You have 2 procs, Retaliation, Disarming Counterblow. If you actually spec into it in the tree here, you're going to do more damage with those and you get healed a small amount. It's not really much to write home about, but you want to make sure they're going off when they come up. Alright, so a couple of the macros that I'm using. For Soul Sickness, I am casting Plaguebringer, then Soul Sickness. Now, I'm pretty much going to do this with all of the disease skills, because Plaguebringer is going to make them AoE, which is really nice for keeping aggro. It's going to be a large portion of your pulling. You can pull the entire group, get some starter aggro before you spotter choice or judgment or whatever you're doing. So yeah, I really like these, and I don't have to worry about clicking my the Plaguebringer. You can also, I would suggest, macroing your aggressive block onto your other melee skills. The reason for that is aggressive block is going to help with mitigation, and at the low levels when you have crappy-tastic gear, the more defense that you have, the better. So this kind of makes sure that you're always using that when it's up on your single target ones, since that's the one that I put in first priority. Another thing you could do, I would suggest, is also putting retaliation into your single targets. I haven't done it with the macros that I have, kind of because I want to save my disarming blow, and with this I have it on a keybind. I'm not really having too much problem with it, but it would make things simpler. So it would probably be a good idea unless you're used to just quickly doing your keybind and it doesn't slow you down at all. Another suggestion I would make is, if you know who you're going to be putting your intercept on, make this macro. Target whoever it is, cast intercept, then target last target. Makes it much more easier. I would also have it, though, to where you could easily target someone else cast it, just in case, for example, normally it's the high DPS target, but they've died. Okay, well, I can still use it on somebody else. Alright, so that's going to bring an end to this episode of Tutorials, Tips, and Tricks. My name has been Drelled. Thank you for watching.